We're going to bring on JD here and our owner and founder, and we're going to get some words from him. So let's get that. JD, are you here, buddy?
You guys are so nutted. I just want to let you guys know that.
I
I'm
love
so
that.
excited that you guys are here, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we're so grateful that we can um, be together and experience getting to the next level together. And Drew here is gonna is we're in good hands here with Drew, and I want to say thank you to everyone and welcome to the Nutted Society. And let's have a great session today.
Now, we are going to get into today's session. I know it's Sunday, and I know that everybody is excited to get on the Sunday grind. And just to give you a little bit more lead into this as we're going to get started. So, Sundays are when I have planned to do our Nutted Playbook seminars. And I thought that it would be nice because we can get up early, we kind of get hyped, we're talking about poker, and it leads into the session, which this is strategic by me. And you will see in the coming sessions here why I chose this time, because I think it's important and I think it's valuable to get pumped up before you go into a poker session, have some sort of thing that motivates you, gets you going and ready. So I think that that is super important. And on Wednesdays, 1 o'clock Eastern to 3 o'clock Eastern, we are going to be doing our nutted hand history reviews. Now, it's going to start off with me bringing some hand histories of my own and then just very openly talking about like what I'm thinking and having open discussion with you as well. We'll have the voice open. You guys will be able to communicate with us in chat and everything. So that's going to be fun, but that is set for every Wednesday. I know we'll be able to hit that. And the dates for the Sunday sessions, it's every Sunday except one Sunday coming up in the next 10 weeks, just because I'll be traveling that day. But past that, Sunday, Wednesdays, bang, we're going to be here studying and getting things together. Now, as far as the Nutted Playbook seminars that we have here, to give you some insight and to put you in the right mindset and space for this. So there are plenty of other training courses, classes, high-level classes, GTO, MTO, CTO, like all of this stuff out there that we all have access to. So I'm not here to regurgitate information that I have learned from the Raise Your Edge Masterclass, the Upswing Masterclass, blah, 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 blah. I'm not here to do that. We will be engaging in some of those concepts, and I will be sharing my experiences with that. But what I am looking to do is give you guys and gals the stuff in between that I have learned over my, holy crap, 12 years playing poker to make a living. And I'm going to be sharing my experiences because I think the things that I'm going to be sharing with you are the glue that holds all of those high level, low level, medium level concepts together. And this is stuff that it's kind of tough actually to put into a course. So I haven't really seen anything like this. And I hope that you really, really enjoy it. So this is going to be the glue that holds all those other studyings, masterclasses, and stuff together. I'm here to give you my personal roadmap and share with you my failures, my successes, and how I have been able to stay alive and still be in the poker industry, playing poker, streaming poker, all of that to make a living for 12 years now. Okay, so that's what I'm giving you today, everyone. Alrighty, so let's get into it. Will the hand history sessions be recorded if unable to attend? Shamkuli, yes, the hand history sessions will be recorded. This is being recorded right now as well. So everything will be recorded and archived. We're currently working on getting set up and creating a gate on either the website or somewhere else where just our Nutted Society holders can watch these videos back, because we are aware we have people from all over the world, different time zones, and people who actually sleep, unlike Estonian Weirdo, who will not be able to make some of our slots. So all that stuff will be saved and you will be able to watch it back. All right. If you don't make me a crusher, do I get a refund? Now, actually, I'm going to cover this stuff, all right? Because if you don't become a crusher or you don't improve your game, the goal is to improve everyone here, okay? There's not some magical transformation that happens here, but I'm actually going to cover it in like a second on one of the first slides here. But you are going to get out of this course and these seminars what you put into it, okay? Because there's a saying that my dad has always told me over the years, It is this: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Okay. So I can give you everything that I've done, successes. There's all the material and training resources out there. But unless you put in the work, like that hype intro video we had, unless you're willing to make the sacrifices you need to, unless you're willing to not care about the cost and you're willing to do more than the person next to you, you can't. If you're not ready to do that, then you're not going to get the results regardless of what's put in front of you. All right. So a lot of this is going to be on you, okay, to take it in, find the gold nuggets, and understand how you work as an individual, a poker player, a competitor. And you need to mold this into your flow. Do you get what I mean? There's a ton of ways. If you look at, just for instance, the best basketball players in the world, sports, athletes, whatever, they're all really good, but their styles aren't all the same. Okay. They've taken what they've seen from all the best players that came before them, and they've molded it into them. All right. So I highly, highly encourage everybody out there who is watching, as you're absorbing everything that I'm telling you and talking about, please take it in. Write it down. I encourage you to take notes and find what works best for you. This might be exactly everything I say here. You might just do exactly like I say. Boom, that's it. Some of you are going to have to cater it to yourself. Okay, so that's super, super important. All right, now we are going to get into it. Let me just make sure we have everyone. Okay, so when I first got into playing poker, to make a living, it was 2010, and I had been playing part-time. It was 2010. I had moved to North Carolina with my girlfriend at the time, and I was playing poker part-time. A lot of you can relate to this, okay? I was going to my 9 to 7 job. It was intense. It pulled a lot of energy out of me. I was coming home, and then I was hopping on my laptop, hanging out with her, watching TV, and grinding MTTs. I loved it. I've always loved playing poker since I found out about it and learned how you could strategy, skill mattered. And it always fed into my competitive side. Like as much as I love playing poker and it's a huge part of my life, I need to be competing. My spirit, my soul, I need to be competing in something. I'm so competitive, and poker is that release for me. All right. So I really hope it is for a lot of you out there too, because it's incredible. It's super fun. And you know what I mean? Like, your spirit just needs that, especially if you played sports in high school. Like, we need this to compete. So I just always wanted to play, but I was doing it part-time, and I was making, like, once I started to get the strategy down good and I was playing a good, tight, aggressive strategy, I was making, while I was working my other job, like $300 to $500 a month. I would get my check, because back then I was playing on Carbon Poker, and I would get my $300 to $500 check every month, and it was coming fairly consistently. And then there was just one day where I was like, you know what, man, if I'm going to make it in poker, if I'm going to do this to make a living, like, at some point I'm going to have to take that leap of faith and jump out there and do it with no job, no cushion. And now I do not suggest that to everybody, because there's a lot of value in having a solid, consistent income behind you as you're taking you're progressing in your journey in poker. The value on that, cannot even put a number on it. It's massive. I've seen so many cases over the years where somebody would try to make it full time with poker. They would fail, then they get a job back, and then they all of a sudden are winning again. There's something mental there. There's a lot there, okay? So, but for me, in 2010, I took the leap of faith. I had not a huge bankroll, like 5K between, like, my resources. Like, I didn't have much, but I knew time was against me, and I had to know if I could make it and live my life with no regrets. So when I had that moment myself, I was like, man, I need to plan, prepare. I need to make sure if I fail, it's because I failed with a plan, success. I put the foundation down. And this is now where managing your poker biz comes in. I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here. How am I going to ensure, if I fail, that it was meant to be like that? And this is what I put together: managing my poker business. How do we make this work? So here we go. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, I'm killing it. It worked. Okay. So now here are some of the things I put together. Some keys to being successful in poker. This is what I have gathered. You need to realize, and there's different ways to cater this and organize it in your mind. You got to find what connects with you. And there's two things: sports and business. I went to Shippensburg University, 4.5 year business degree, and I realized after playing poker as a casual player for so long, getting into this is actually kind of like running a business when you play poker. So if you're playing poker part-time or full-time, I think you can take this mindset to it. So if you have a business background, you might connect with this. There's also ways that I could put this in a sports space as well. When I used to do my one-on-one coaching all the time, my goal was always to find out, okay, what clicks with this student? How can they learn? How can I connect with them? And how can I make these concepts super relatable so that they can transfer it to something that they understand and get it faster? Now, I'm going to use the business analogy for this session here. And you need to realize you're managing a business and not just firing up the Xbox, because there are a lot of people. And for me, it was my significant other at the time saying, oh, you're going to go play your poker game? Like, we cannot have that mindset. If we're going to be nutted and make it in the poker world, part-time or full-time, all right, you need to realize you're not just sitting down to play the Xbox. While playing the Xbox has value from a mental standpoint, we do need that distraction sometimes. We do need to disconnect and we do need to click buttons. But when you're showing up to compete and play poker, you shouldn't have that mindset. You're not just sitting down, oh, I'm going to fire up some games. Like, actually, you can. If you're just a casual player, you have no desire to get better, you just want to click buttons, that's fine. All right. But a lot of you here for this seminar, that's obviously not you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't care about getting better. Okay. So for you all here watching, you are not here to click buttons. You are here to compete. You are here to manage your business as efficiently as you can. All right. So realize that. All right. We are here to work. We are here to have fun, because when you're working and doing your best and having success, that is super fun. All right. So next point, money management keeps the doors open for business. This is bankroll management. This is the first topic, and this is everything when we talk about poker, from the bottom to the top. Whatever type of player you're talking to, if they are making it and they're surviving, bankroll management is everything. It's literally everything. Think about this. You have a little grocery store on the corner of the street, whatever. If you're not managing your assets, if you're not setting the correct price points, that's balancing, how much you charge for that pack of Nutter Butters, how much you charge for the gas, you know what I mean? You're not managing your inventory correctly, you're going to go broke, right? So you need to be managing your bankroll. You need to be managing your money, which is your main asset when we're playing poker, because we need those buy-ins to get into these tournaments so that we have a chance at a return on our investment. Just like when you buy those things in your store, you're hoping for a certain return on your investment. And that's the same thing with poker. So you need to be able to continue to put items in your store, and we need to continue to buy into tournaments so that we can have a return on investment and our business can continue to grow. We could climb the levels. If getting to higher buy-ins is something that you aspire to do, you need to manage your money accordingly. You need to know when to take calculated shots at the higher buy-in levels, and you need to continue to work on your business. You need to continue to work on your game. Bankroll management is everything. We can dig into this concept more and more, but I'll give you the basic foundation for general bankroll management is playing tournaments, because a lot of our focus here is going to be playing tournaments, but this doesn't exclude cash game concepts. You still need to take the same mindsets here that we're talking about, but for tournaments, 100 buy-ins, okay? You could probably even just do that for cash games. As you get better, you will not need as many buy-ins to find your return on investment, okay? So, so now you need to try to view yourself as, I'm sliding over to the sports side here, a professional athlete. Now, the best who are making it to the World Series, the Super Bowl, all of these athletes, there's a lot of things in common, and poker as well, that's happening. Preparation is key. I cannot express that enough. Preparation is everything when you want to be successful. This is not even poker and sports. This is just successful in everything. You need to have a plan, all right? or if you don't have a plan, then your plan is to fail. You have to prepare for your sessions. You have to prepare to be successful. There's a lot that goes into this. People don't just wake up and be like, oh, I think I'm going to be awesome at poker today. Not a thing. All right. Another thing that I'm going to express, which we will continue to talk about, is you need to be mentally tough. All right. That is so, so important, because we could tell you everything that you need to know, give you all the answers to the questions, but you know what? You are going to encounter adversity. There are going to be bumps in the road. That is important. All right. That is super, super important. We are shaped in our struggles, and the way that you respond to adversity is what defines you. So being mentally tough is everything. You could have all the answers, but if you are mentally not tough, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. Or the moment you're trying to perform, you're in a big spot, you're down to the final two tables, and a good aggressive player three bets you, you get nervous, you crumble, and you black out because you're not mentally tough enough yet for that situation, and you lose it. You know what I'm talking about? It's huge. You have to stay competitive. This is another huge point. Staying competitive is going to take you so, so far in this game. And this is one of the things that I talk about a lot. But when it comes down to bankroll management, you just mind your bankroll management. You get in that tournament. I don't care if it's a $6 tournament or a $200 tournament. When you get into that $6 tournament, because it's good bankroll management, you're in there to whoop on everyone, to play better than every single person at that table, and to play your best. Stay competitive. Focus on competing. Focus on beating other people. Don't focus on how much is for first. Don't focus on the buy-in. It's like, oh, that's not enough buy-in. Well, then, you got to stimulate yourself, drop games, play slightly higher buy-in. There are ways to manipulate this and to manipulate ourselves to achieve a higher level of success. Stay competitive. Massive, massive, massive. The mental game of poker books, I agree, Mr. E, are massive for mindset strength. It was a huge, huge thing for me in 2014 when I found those books. They're great. I highly encourage you, if you struggle with your mental game, get Jared Tendler, his mental game of poker books. There's two of them. The first one focuses on emotional aspects. The second one focuses more on performance. They're fantastic. I've reached a level in my poker career at 2014. Now, remember, I started at 2010, risking it all to try to make it in poker. And I hit a ceiling in 2014, and I was like, man, am I going to get better? Like, what's the next thing? And then I found his books, and I broke that ceiling. I advanced to another level. It was massive. All right. And then my last 2 points here are know your competition and then execute. All right. These are all pillars on the way to being successful in poker and life. Now, the first point, preparation is key. Now, what are you doing to separate yourself from the crowd? There are thousands of other people playing online and chasing the dream, and less than 10% make it. Okay. This is actually everything, not even just poker, sports, everything, business. Like, a lot of people are going to fail. All right. And failing is fine, but you need to fail forward, and you need to be okay with failing. So what are you doing to separate yourself from the crowd? Going back into the preparation here, it's like, think of all these other thousands of people that are out there trying to make it in poker. Are you just following the crowd? Are you just waking up again, hoping that it's going to happen? Or are you finding the time to study? Oh, I don't have time to study. I have XYZ. You don't want it enough. You are not motivated enough to make it. Okay. The things that we place a high value on, we find time for. All right. You have to do stuff to push yourself to make it. And there are ways to get to this point. You can set goal sheets. You could have accountability buddies. You could join the Nutted Society and have a bunch of others around you who are going to be joining these seminars and pushing every single week to try to get a little bit better. Okay. So what are you doing to separate yourself from the crowd right now? I'm going to tell you right now, everyone, there are people watching this seminar who are not taking notes. And there are people watching the seminar who are taking notes. This is a prime example of what are you going to do to separate yourself from the crowd. Okay. Now, my next point here, how are you setting yourself up for success daily? Do you just get up, eat, watch TV, turn the computer on, and expect to win? Now, we've touched on some of these points, but I want to just dig a little bit deeper. Now, for me, one thing that I've learned over the years is, and I'm going to just pound this into people's brains, stretching. It sounds so simple, whatever. I understand that, we have different body shapes and sizes and all of that, but stretching is meditative. And I know that if you've been in the poker industry at one point or another, you've seen Jason Kuhn, Fedor, or some of these other high-level, high-profile professionals talk about meditating. And stretching is an easy bridge into meditating, in my opinion, because I've tried meditating a lot in the past. It is difficult trying to get into the flow and figure that out, but stretching is a very cool way to catch a meditation flow. It gets your blood flowing. It makes your body not feel stiff. And literally, it makes me feel a gazillion times better when I go into a session, anything, and I have stretched. I can't quantify to you the value of it, but it is massive, massive, massive. Get up, let the sun touch you, go outside for a walk, stretch, get a nice light meal in you before you go out there to compete. Again, think of it from a sports aspect. What do high-level athletes do before they go out there to perform on game day? Today is our game day. It's Sunday. All right, all the tournaments are about to start up. Once we finish this session, you're going to be jazzed up. You're going to be ready. You're going to get a stretch. You're going to go for a quick walk. And this is part of how are you setting yourself up for success daily. This is our big day. Like I said, I strategically wanted to do these seminars on Sunday so that I could get you in the right mindset. I could get you pumped up to have a great day. And I promise you, there's something about absorbing poker material, doing a hand history, getting pumped up before a session. Hand history seminar run good is a thing. I'm in this industry playing poker, trying to make it for 12 years now. And every time there's hand history run good is a thing, seminar study run good is a thing. And I want to set you up for Sunday on our big day, our day where we go to do battle. And we have the opportunities to make the most money and compete against the most amount of people. Sundays, all right? So we got to get up. There's plans. There's things you can do in order to find your success daily. And with Another Society here in our Discord community, we're going to continue to talk about things. Definitely feel free to share with your fellow society members things that you do to find success on the daily. There's going to be some things that some of you out there suggest that I don't even think about and I didn't know. But so we need to continue to just push each other, hold each other accountable. Now, the point on being mentally tough. This is huge. This is insane. This is the biggest hurdle. In my opinion, this might be the biggest hurdle to being successful in poker and anything else, really. Are you mentally tough? Do you care what others think and say about you? Do you know, I remember when I was first starting playing online. So again, it's 2010. I've quit my real world job. I have my 5K. How do I make it? I remember, and I talked about this on stream just yesterday, I remember I would have chat open, and if I were to lose a hand and somebody were to pipe off in chat and say something negative towards me, I would lose it, man. I would lose it. I would be back there and we'd be going back and forth. I didn't say like crazy stuff like I'm burn down your house or anything, but I would go back and forth and it would tilt me. My face would feel hot and it affected me. Right. So it got to a point where I eventually realized I can't look at chat. I'm not strong enough right now. I don't know how to manipulate myself to not get engaged in this. But I did know that when I get involved in these chats and back and forth, I'm distracted from my game. I am nice gift there, York. I'm distracted from my game. I'm not focusing on what matters. So I just turned off chat. But a lot of you who are still progressing in your journey in poker here, you haven't built that thick skin yet, and that comes with time. So you might need to not look at chat. You need to, how do we also grow a thick skin and not care what others think? By doing what you're doing right now. Studying, growing your game, building that confidence that you need in order to shield off anything a troll or a hater has to say. Realize your truth, okay? Some of you, maybe you've only been playing poker full time for about a year or two, and you don't have that thick skin, and somebody might go, you are a donk. Obviously not as nicely as I just did. You're probably not going to take that negatively, but they're going to say it in some way that they're trying to get under your skin. And if you react to it, it means because there's probably a little bit of truth there. But here's your defense. that I want to give to you. If you know that you're studying, you're working on your game, a sick comeback that they won't see, you'll completely throw them off, you win it, is be like, yo, you might be right. I might be a donk, but I'm working harder than you are. I promise you that. What are they going to say? See what I mean? That's your shield. That's your protection. That's why we study. That's why we surround ourselves with like-minded people who are going to keep us on track. Okay, I'm going to tell you, if you are studying, if you are working on your game, do not be affected by what anyone has to say. If anybody is shooting a dig at you, making a negative comment towards you, that says way more about them than it does about you. So do not let that bother you. Be mentally tough. Know that you are doing the things. You are not perfect. You are getting better. And don't care what they have to say, okay? That's going to distract you. We need to stay focused. We need to be able to compete on the highest level. Stay focused. Do not be distracted by what other people who are, I feel like the only way I want to describe this, weaker than you, all right? The loudest person in the room is typically the weakest. Think about that, all right? When these people speak up. Less chat pros in live games, though. Yeah, when people can see you in person versus online, it's definitely less chat pro-y, but they'll still have some stuff to say. That's definitely a thing, though, for sure. Now, how do we gain confidence to proceed chasing the dream every day? Man, this is a heavy one, right? Like, how do we keep moving forward? And then this is something I learned as I was growing in poker. So I was getting better. My first year, I was very fortunate and lucky in 2010 to have a 65K profit year. Literally super lucky. And that is definitely part of the game. Very, very fortunate. And I think it was part of a bigger picture. You know what I mean? That I needed to have that year to continue to push me forward. You know, this was my place where I was supposed to be. And poker is my vehicle in order to serve a higher life purpose, okay? Now, one thing that I learned, and you all will learn, I was like, oh, wow, I'm good at poker. I'm in the profit, 65K this year, and I'm the best, right? But, you know, what happened as I continued to grow and I surrounded myself with better players, we would start to talk about poker, and I wouldn't know how to communicate myself. There are a lot of difficult and complex concepts out there where if you can't communicate what you know to somebody else, in my opinion, I think there are some outliers to this, but if you can't communicate what you know to somebody else, you don't know that concept well enough. So I encourage a lot of people, if you find yourself in a spot, somebody's talking about a hand, or they're like, what does this mean? And you find yourself fumbling over your words, that is a tell. That is a sign that you need to go back and learn more about that. Because when you get to a certain point with these concepts in poker and these ideas, if you can speak it like you breathe, then that means you have the concepts down. It's in your subconscious. You understand it well enough that you can deliver a certain message or like concepts in different languages, different deliveries to people so that they can understand and connect with it, you know? So, yeah, I remember I had that aha moment. I believe I was in Atlantic City with a few buddies of mine. I think there was 4 of us. And I remember we were talking about something and I kept fumbling over my words. And then I realized I don't know it enough. And I went into, for the next year, I went into a mode of absorbing. When I would go to a casino, I'll tell you this, and I think this is valuable as well. When I would go into the casino, the poker room, a lot of them would always have like poker magazines there. How often are you grabbing those poker magazines, everyone? I was grabbing every single one of those poker magazines. They're free any single time I could get them, and I was looking at the strategy. I was reading everything. I was on a very well organized and thought out website that I like to reference to people, thepokerbank.com. Very good concepts. I was going through that everywhere. I was literally drilling poker into my head so that I could speak about it on a subconscious, so I could have confidence to stand up or sit down like I am now in a room of people and explain what I know about poker. And it's super, super important. So that's going to give you the confidence to proceed chasing the dream every day. It's the work that you put in. off the tables, the amount of knowledge and hunger that you have to absorb the material and just continue to absorb, because there's literally countless hours of stuff that you can study and learn in poker. It doesn't have to be a training video that gives you the value. It doesn't have to be coaching. Absorb wherever you can absorb. Take it in, okay? It's super, super huge. And then another one here with the society, as we're all sitting here, having a poker support group or network is important to success. Now, there's just nothing that can compare to the value of, having this Discord chat room of like-minded people who want to get better at poker, having me sharing my experiences, JD sharing his experiences, and the other seasoned veterans in the Discord here sharing and talking. And we're going to be doing our hand histories, like I said earlier, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Having those sessions, repetition, and then talking it out with each other. We're going to have different ways of processing and different ways that we're looking at hands. And I, over the years, have seen so many people kind of like not see the value in hearing what a newer player has to say. They only want to hear what someone has to say who they think is better than them. And in my opinion, you're missing out there, because poker is not just these players up here. Now, granted, we want to advance to this stage. Poker is also being played here. In my opinion, you need to understand how the newer players are thinking and the more experienced players are thinking, because at varying times when we're on the tables, we're going to encounter both of those players. So I would say that I value every poker player's opinion, whether you're new or massively experienced, because there's something to learn there. There's something to grab onto. This is a player type. This is a player type. There's player types all in here. So you don't discredit what somebody newer to poker is seeing. They're telling you how somebody at their stage in poker is processing, how they're thinking, and there is value there. You have to look and understand that. It's massive. So as far as having our support group network, be open to listening to what anyone has to say and find value there. You have to dig and like, oh, wow, that's how they're thinking. I was like, okay, I see that. I understand that. I remember when I used to think like that. And it's like, okay, people are still thinking that way. And it can help you uncover and know how to exploit that player type, not them specifically, but there's always something to learn. Keep your mind open. Keep your mind open. That's why these are important. Okay? It's massive, massive, massive. All right. So to the point of being competitive, once you lose that competitive drive, you will lose the desire to do the things you need in order to succeed. This is just life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about a relationship that you've been in, or early stages of a relationship, whether you're a guy or a gal, whatever the case may be. Think about the early stages of that relationship. You were competing for their love. You were competing for their attention and their time. And then what happens in a lot of relationships? It's super, super easy to get comfortable with the fact that you've won. You've gotten there. You know what I mean? Like, he or she is your boo now, and we get lazy. That's kind of like what happens. Even when you reach you could see some super successful people. They can kind of reach a height in sports business, and they can get lazy. Because you've beaten a bunch of people, but you can't. You cannot get lazy in your relationship. You cannot get lazy in your relationship with poker, and you have to stay competitive. It's everything. Okay. And now there are multiple ways to continue to stay competitive. Now, for me in poker, this is something I definitely realized. Again, poker is a journey. It's a learning process that you go through. I probably realized this stay competitive thing probably about 2 or 3 years into my journey. So maybe 2012, 2013, I really started to realize that by just focusing on being competitive, it helps you push away the toxicity, the variance, the haters, all of this stuff, because you don't have time for it. I just want to be better than that person sitting next to me. Because a lot of us, if I had to guess, our average age in this chat right now is probably somewhere in the 30s. 30 to 35 range is what I'm guessing, our average age. All right. And I'm saying this because there is a 20-year-old out there who is mad hungry, super, super competitive, and they do not have as much on their plate as us, and they're willing to lose everything they have on their plate to make it in poker. They're losing sleep. They are studying. They're talking to their friends. They're finding ways to compete. They are paying for the educational resources that they need, and that's who we're competing against. All right? And we can beat them. We can be better than them. You know what we have over them that they still have many years to get? Experience. All right. We have this education and we've built that thick skin. All right. We have edges. We just need to understand where our strengths lie, and we can beat that person next to us. But we need to be, like I just said in the last slide, willing to listen to what that person has to say and adjust and continue to stay competitive. All right. The competition is tough out there. How many times do you go through every single thread? 2+2 best of archive. I haven't been on 2+2 in a while, but speaking of kind of the stuff that we're absorbing, you got to absorb positive, beneficial stuff, because time is money. We cannot waste our time being in toxic groups, toxic chats, all this other stuff. It might be entertaining at times, but you know what? You got to stay focused. We need to invest our energy where it matters most. And you have your job. A lot of you out there, you have your job, you have your family, and then you have your poker. Okay. Let's put it like that. You have to prioritize and take care of your first two things. And when you get to poker, by that time you get to poker, you don't have time to be investing in negative, toxic spaces. You need to stay focused. You need to invest your energy well, and you need to stay competitive. Set some goals for yourself. One thing that I used to do back in the day, it doesn't track ACR anymore, but I would look at pocket fives and compete in my state or my country there. I would follow and see my progress. So there's ways that you can be competitive and keep yourself motivated, and just try to get a little bit better each day. So in some future seminars, I'm going to share with you some of the spreadsheets that I put together in order to help myself stay focused, stay on track, and continue moving forward, and have documents that I could reference for when I'm going on a downswing. And then I look back at it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm still hitting my goals. I'm still studying as many hours as I'd like. I might be on a downswing, but I'm confident in the work that I'm putting in. Yo, let's keep going. All right. And then another fun thing is having competition with friends. Like not too long ago, set up a competition for one of my good friends, John Party. He's one of those people where he kind of could use some motivation to keep him moving forward and getting better. And in poker, you know, a decent amount of the time there is, you know, we're like placing bets, financial bets to like motivate people. And it is motivating. And you know what? You got to realize what motivates you, what gets you going. And if it's, you know, a $100 bet with a friend that, hey, I'm going to study more than you this month. Okay, do it. Figure yourself out. Nobody knows you better than you. So you have to really try to resonate with the things that motivate you and be creative. Find creative ways to motivate yourself. Again, an easy one is a financial bet, because what does that do? We're competitive. All right. We're focused on being competitive. We don't want to lose that $100 to our buddy. Doesn't matter if the $100 is motivating or not. I don't want to lose any bets to John. Do you see? We could do that too. How do you motivate yourself? Okay. Let's see. For 2+2, wasn't speaking about shitposting news groups. Just think of some guides that were posted for free by some former crushers. Might be a bit dated though, since I don't frequent it anymore. And so, yeah, as far as just absorbing material, we talked about that 2 slides ago. 2+2 is a resource you can go to. I mentioned the Poker Bank. There are tons of free resources out there that you can go and just pull and look for conversations that stimulate you and make you think, right? Back in the day, 2+2 was a super popular forum that really got conversations started, had people thinking. So I agree with Yerk. You know, there are different places to pull from and find motivation, get your brain going and get those sparks going. Now, continue on competition. This is an interesting one. Some points that I have laid out here. Laid out is I like this saying a lot, actually. I use it fairly frequently, but keep your friends close, and your enemies closer. This is something that my dad taught me when I was a kid. My dad being a Marine, so some of these things I'm regurgitating from like that type of space, just so you know. But keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And enemies is kind of an aggressive word, I would say. But this goes back to listening and paying attention to what those people who are you're competing against, what they're doing when they're beating you. Because inevitably, when you're going to be playing a bunch on the tables, you're going to run into somebody that you start to build history with, and they're going to be the villain. Like, oh, this guy is always three-betting me, always jamming on me, always putting me in spots, blah, 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 blah. That's your enemy. But you need to get into their space. You need to get into their head and realize why they're doing what they're doing. And that's where this saying comes in: keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Because, I need to see what this guy's doing. How you know what I mean? Like, how is he taking advantage of me? And I actually remember in 2010, I acquired my very first poker friend because I was just playing online. I didn't know about forums at the time. I literally would just fire up 6 games and I would grind online, and that was my thing. I was working. I didn't talk to any groups. I wasn't in any networks. I wasn't on Skype. Discord wasn't a thing. And it was very isolating, for sure. I had to learn a lot of things I did the hard way. But there was one player that I would have battles with all the time. His screen name was One Golden Bear One. We would be battling on carbon poker from the smaller stakes to the higher stakes, and he was getting me. I didn't know what he was doing, and I was having my moments versus him. But when I saw him at the table, I was like, I'm not losing to this guy. The competitive side kicked in. But what ended up happening is he understood this concept: keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Eventually, he, through the poker chat there, was like, hey, do you want to talk on Skype, something like that? And it was funny. It happened right after we were in this $320 satellite to play the WPT 5 Diamond Classic. It was a satellite package for $12,500. Winner take all. There was 30 some people in it. And I got in pocket queens versus his aces. We were in a spot where I raise, he raise. I'm like, forget this guy. And I'm all in. He calls. Flop comes ace, queen, X. Turn, nothing, river, queen. I hit quads to knock him out. And then that got him to reach out to me. And then we became really close friends. And I haven't talked to him in a minute. I hope he's doing well. But he was my very first poker friend. And we would have conversations about life, poker, why we were doing what we were doing. And this goes back to the network thing that I talked about. And my game just got like better and better. I know his got better. We would talk about life and things just got better. So having that close-knit community, and then again, keeping your enemies closer, right? This was a prime example of that. I remember I grew tons from that. But he went from an enemy to a friend, and I didn't push him away. I was like, you're too close now. You can't. This is the enemy space. This is the friend space. But you understand the concept, right? Yeah, that's Bay for me. Your Carbon was my very first poker site when I started out on this journey and started to find success. So other ways that you can know your competition, I talk about this a ton on stream. You can shark scope players. You can look them up on Pocket Fives. Just go into Google and whatever their screen name is, put poker after it or Pocket Fives after it, because we do have access primarily when we're playing online to be able to dig in more and know our competition. So don't just be watching Netflix on the side and clicking buttons on the table watching. You have 7 to 8 other players at your table in front of you. You have the internet. You can be digging in and finding out information on these players at any time. It doesn't matter. This is free information that you can use to coordinate a strategy to win versus them. Okay, so there's really no reason not to find that information, especially if you're not streaming, doing other things. You have all the time in the world. And if you don't have enough time to be doing this free research on your opponents, you might need to play less games. Instead of 6 to 8 tabling, you can't research all those players. I understand that makes sense. You need to focus on the action and everything. But if you want to dig in deeper, you want to be able to take notes on players. You want to be able to tag players and color code them, which I have a player types video on my YouTube channel, which was my guide, everything. When I first started playing full time in 2010, I developed a player type color coding system which helped guide me and make my adjustments against players before I even knew about training sites, studying hand histories, none of that. I figured out that we are creatures of habit and we will fall into tendencies and patterns. And I learned how to exploit those things. And it's been amazing for me because I've attached to that my entire poker playing career. And I've realized that as I'm talking about, there's a journey and there's a life cycle with being a poker player. We progress through these different stages. And in that video, I have outlined the stages of playing poker that I believe we progress through, why we progress through them, and how we can exploit and understand what each of those stages, those different types of players are thinking. And you need to be able to be paying attention and knowing your competition to make these adjustments. All right. Let's see. Player pool diary is so important when we see so many different players, but they have similar actions. Yeah, there's like so many notes and things that we could be doing. Color coding is so much better now. I agree, Yerk, on ACR 100%. But know your competition. Dig in. We have the resources. We can do this. Develop a system. Watch my player types video on my YouTube channel. You can go to betondrew.com and then it'll be one of the suggested videos. If you click YouTube, it'll be right on that page. You can find it. But that's massive. It's massive, massive, massive. Understanding player types. That's just such a real thing. All right. And then, of course, as far as knowing your competition, you could also watch training videos, watch Twitch streams, ask questions, be hungry for knowledge, continue to just eat and absorb as much as you can. And then now here is the big one. You could know everything. You could have the playbook. You could have the blueprint right in front of you. But if you cannot execute, it doesn't matter. You might as well rip it up, throw it away. If your mental game is dust, then it's the same thing. Might as well rip it up, throw it away. Okay? Now, when you sit down to play, you sit down to do work. You have to stay focused. And again, this is the intro of our 9-week seminar for this nutted playbook. And while some of you might be like, this might be a little like not your thing, it should be, because this is everything. What we're doing, we talked about earlier. This is preparing to be successful. This is our preparation. I'm getting you in the right mindset on a Sunday before our biggest day of play to find continued and multiple many years of success playing poker. And this is something that you can also even use in your business, anywhere else. All right. This is more so about just being successful. All right. You need to minimize the distractions. For a lot of us here that are playing, we're playing live poker, but we're also primarily playing online. And it's easy to have distractions in front of you. Your phone, YouTube, family. It's massive. Like I'm going to tell you right now, I remember when I first started playing, 2010, before I took the leap of faith, like I told you, I would come home from work, sit on my laptop with my girl, we'd be watching something on TV, and I would be 60% focusing on my game, and then talking to her, watching the movie, and I could play a tight aggressive strategy on like a weak, smaller, intimate field and do okay. Fine, like when I got to the later stages of a tournament, I would focus up more, as I feel like a lot of us naturally would. But you really have to minimize the distractions, okay? You can't just be absorbing here, because you know what's happening when you are watching TV, Twitch, chat, 900 things going on. You can be overstimulated, but also you're not paying attention to that person who just went for the triple check raise here on ace, deuce, deuce, 4, 3, and ended up showing king, queen. You're going to miss that. There's going to be some huge, huge things going on that you need to pay attention to. Like imagine like having an iPod or imagine being a football player and on the big screen, they're playing Along Came Polly on the big screen and you're watching the movie and playing football. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to be distracted. You need to be zoned in the entire time. Because again, what happens if you go into a session? You have no distractions. You find that super focused point. You're playing, let's say, 4 tables. You have some nice focused chill music on the side. You're taking notes. You are color coding people. You're watching what's going on. You're really into the action. You're just super competitive, and you end up having a losing day. At the end of the day, you know what you're going to have? You might have lost some money, but you're going to have peace. And I feel like for a lot of us, especially at this point, having peace is so powerful, because when you hit that pillow at night, you're not thinking about, oh man, that was so bad, blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh man, I really went out there. I gave it my all. You sleep good like a competitor should. You get back up the next day and we get back at it, okay? Because you will be more successful. So you have to minimize the distractions. You have to position yourself to win. And that peace is, you can't put a dollar amount on it. All right, knowing that you gave it your all, you were focused, you weren't distracted, okay? And then knowing the optimal amount of games you play. Again, I'll kind of reference Jared Tendler's Mental Game of Poker book. The second one talks a lot about finding that optimal stimulation point. Now, this comes into, and actually Sue Ranger in our group here brought up a question about this the other day, and I will touch on this like real briefly, but finding the right buy-in level and the right amount of games, the right amount of static on the side is crucial. Nobody's going to know what that formula is for you, but realize this is a thing. So let's say that you've got, I'm going to give like an example here. You have $1 million in the bank. You're playing a $6 buy-in. You might not be stimulated enough by that. Okay. So you might need to play $100 buy-in to be stimulated. Simple example, right? Our situations are a little bit different than that. You know, a lot of us are playing and relying on our check that comes in every week. Maybe we have a bankroll, do good bankroll management, and you're going to feel it. If you're taking a shot outside of your comfort zone, you're going to feel it. Nobody can tell you that you're feeling it. I'm going to continue to talk about and drill into your heads is we have this space right here. You have this feeling like you're about to call off on the river for the 100th time this session and be wrong, but you have this feeling right in your gut that is like, you need to fold here. You've called enough times to know they just have it. And then you click the button and call and they have it again. You're going to have to learn to trust that gut. Like if you're taking a shot outside of your comfort zone, while stepping outside of your comfort zone presents the opportunity for you to grow, you need to do it calculated. Okay. So as far as understanding your optimal amount of games that you play, if you are finding yourself going, oh, wow, I'm in this situation on the river and I don't know what happened on the flop and turn, you're playing too many games. You need to tone it down. And if you're finding yourself in a spot where you have like 2 games up and you're just getting bored, you find yourself like, oh, I keep going to YouTube, I keep going to Netflix, I keep going to this. You're not stimulated enough. All right, maybe you need to play 4 games and start focusing on taking notes. Maybe you need to play some different music. When I am grinding, and I would have another thing, put some headset on, and it just puts the music right in your ears. It blocks out any noises you might hear in the house. A pot clanks, you don't hear it. It doesn't distract you. Having a headset on with some chill music, some hype music, whatever kind of gets you in the zone and in the mode. Nobody knows what that is but you, okay? How many tables do you play at once on a Sunday? This is fancy. So for me personally, when I'm streaming, my sweet point is around 5, 6. Usually when I'm streaming, it's 5. But historically over the years, I've always said, if I'm not streaming, 6 to 8 is my optimal point where I can focus in on the action enough. I'm trained enough that there's certain spots I don't need to invest much energy in. It's very automatic, and I will know the spots I need to invest a little bit more time and focus on. But when I'm streaming, 4 used to be the spot, but I've advanced my game to the point where there's some decisions that come quite automatic and I don't need to use as much energy, that now streaming, it's like 5, 6 games. 5 right now is my sweet spot. But again, if I'm off stream, 6 to 8, if I'm on like my big setup here, which that really just doesn't happen much nowadays. So I don't get to play 8 games much, because if I am not streaming, I'm playing on my laptop and I can't really see 8 games great. So like 6 is kind of the max. But Yeah, I think everybody's kind of different with that. The When I first started playing, as far as understanding my games, I started off with two games because I could like tile them, boom, big on the screen. I'm not missing any details. I don't have to like squint to see what's going on, and it was easy. And then I eventually got to a point where I was starting to see I was getting distracted, and it's like, oh, not enough action. Add three, or no, I went to immediately four at that point. And then I started to realize that, oh, like what's happening here? Oh, I didn't mean to do this. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? I was making mistakes. I was like, okay, four is too much. I'm not good enough yet to play four. Go down to three, go down to two. And I was like, oh, okay, two, I'm fine. Let me try three. It's a process finding out how many games are optimal for you, but those are some signs and some things that you can use to realize what your optimal games are. And again, I just want to reiterate, some people out there you might be watching and thinking that this stuff doesn't really seem like it carries value. But when you look at a professional athlete, they have an offensive, the team has an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, a strength coach, a mental coach, somebody, you know what I mean? There are so many people that are helping try to figure out how this person that they are coaching, how do we make them the best version of themselves? And we don't have that. Okay, we do not have these five other people standing up over us who are getting paid to make sure that we are the best version of ourselves. We have to do that. That's what this is about. This is what I'm talking about when I say this seminar is the glue to everything else that you'll learn from these training sites, from these coaches. I'm giving you the glue. We have to be the one to find the best version of ourselves and how we can play poker and compete at the highest level. This stuff matters. Me telling you to trust your gut here and realize that internal sensation that you get when you're about to make that terrible call again, when you're starting to get too distracted, when you're not stimulated enough, I'm going to teach you and talk about these things. Understanding how to get to the optimal amount of games, what to look for, understanding when you're stimulated at a certain buy-in, not being distracted. I'm going to give you the guys this stuff. And again, a lot of this, I'm regurgitating my experiences because I wanted to make it so bad in poker. I didn't want to do anything else in 2010. I got introduced to poker in 2003, buddies at college. And when I found out that there was like skill and stuff behind it, I have a sports background. I love basketball, man. I'm telling you, when I'm on the basketball court, shooting free throws, whatever, it's meditative for me. I'm not thinking about any of my life worries, nothing. I am in heaven playing basketball. I played football when I was in high school. I played baseball when I was in high school. And poker it feeds my spirit and it allows me to compete. All right. I wanted it so bad. And these are all things that I did to try to make sure that I could get to that point and be the best player that I could be. And you need to be that way with yourself if you want to reach higher levels. Figure all this stuff out. So I'm giving you the guide, things to look at and how to manipulate yourself to get the best version. All right. Another one here, maximize clarity and thinking. Again, nobody knows you better than you. All right. Playing drunk is just not going to yield you amazing results. You're going to get lucky here and there, small sample, but I promise you, if you did a 10,000 game sample, drunk versus not drunk, you're going to do better not drunk. That's just the facts. It doesn't matter. Okay. And then I also think maintaining a schedule and knowing when you can play and being max focus is important. And actually on this point, I don't think I touch on this on the next slide, but I want to say this because I think this is going to be really relatable to a lot of you out there. A lot of you out there have a full-time job. You come home, you play poker part-time, and you're chasing the dream. That's why you're here. All right. And with that said, there are things that need to happen. You need to make sure that your significant other is taken care of, the kids are taken care of, your work is done, and you have freed your mind. All right. Like, honey, I've done everything that you need. Is there anything else you need me to do? Sunday is my online poker day. So that means that throughout the course of the week, you're leading up to your big day of playing poker. All right. You need to make sure the honey-do list is done. You need to make sure the kids are happy and everyone is good. Honey, you good? I'm going to get into my mode. I'm going to do my thing because, Sundays are my day to play poker. You put your headset on, you've done your training, you've done your studying, you watched your hype video before you go into your session, you know how many games at this point you're going to play, you've got your pre-grind notes, that's for next session, next seminar, and you're just in the zone and ready to crush. Okay, I think having that schedule and being able to prioritize and let everything else that you have going on, let them all know that this is daddy, this is mommy's time, and then you get here and you do your thing. Okay, I think that's super, super important. And I think a lot of people can connect with that. So let's see. Oops. All right. So in conclusion here for this intro nutted playbook masterclass, in my opinion, poker is fair. You just keep working hard and you will get out of it what you put into it. This is truth with anything. You want to be good at real estate. You want to be good at investments. You want to be good at poker. You want to be good at sports. You want to be good in your relationship to your significant other. You have to put in work. Don't let things get stagnant and then expect results. All right. You have to study. You have to put in the time. You have to be here and you have to do all the things that I told you. It's a lot. It can be daunting. But this is our first step into helping each and every single one of you out there progress, get a little bit better, figure yourself out, and find out how to produce the best version of you. It's possible. It can happen. And I will also say, not all of us here are meant to be playing $25,000 high buy-in tournaments with the best in the world. That's just not everyone's path. It's not even a desire. Like, I personally don't care if I ever get to the point where I'm playing $25,000 buy-ins on the regular. That's not like a passion or a desire of mine. I love competing in poker. I want to be the best version of me, and I will continue to play the 109, 215s, and whatever else that I'm like playing now for the most part. You know, like, I'm stimulated by that. I'm happy with that. I enjoy competing and I am a happy person. I enjoy my life and the opportunities that God has given me here, and even just my opportunity to sit and share my experience with you all. All right. So just keep working hard, get a little bit better each day. And as far as some of other things that I do in my business, in my space here, pre-grind notes, personal coaching notes, bankroll log, productivity log, and goal sheet. These are things that I'm going to talk about, touch on, and share with you my personal documentations from over 12 years of playing poker online, managing my poker business. That's all going to be coming in our second seminar, which is going to be next Sunday. But these are really, really cool coming up. The pre-grind notes and the personal coaching notes. I'll give you a little intro to this, but as everything that I've talked about now, my pre-grind notes, the focus of that is to bring the things that aren't into my subconscious yet, bring them into the front of my mind. So every session that I went into, I knew the things that I wanted to focus on. I knew the things that I needed to focus on, because there was a time in my poker learning and growing career that I didn't know a lot of stuff well enough. I was trying to find my game. I was trying to find the flow. I was trying to hone in on my thought process. And I needed these pre-grind notes to bring things that weren't in my subconscious to the front of my mind so that I wouldn't forget them, things that I was working on. Personal coaching notes. There was a time in my poker playing career over the last 12 years where I had a lot of drama going on in my life, a lot of distractions. It was tough for me to focus. So you had an argument with your significant other, and what'll happen is you will hang on to that argument because you almost got to that point you were trying to get to. You didn't want to forget this point that you wanted to make, and it's sitting like a knot in your stomach when you've eaten too much. It's sitting on your mind, and then you go into a session, and then you're like trying to focus on a hand, and you don't want to lose that thought of where you were at, where you'd progressed in it. So you're holding on to it here, and now you're trying to like play your games. That was me. I've been there, and I know a lot of us can connect with that. So what I started to do, what I realized is I would do some personal coaching notes or like diary, like real life notes. And what I would do, I would take those thoughts from my brain, I would put it on paper, I would put it on a Google Doc, I would type it out, everything I was thinking. And you know what happened? I was okay letting it go. while I was playing my session, because I'm not going to forget where I was at. I'm not going to forget what I was thinking. Okay. I placed it here. I can revisit it later. Now I have the peace. Okay. I don't need to think about that. I don't need to think about this. I don't need to think about this. I'm not going to forget anything. I've put it all down here. Now let's focus on our grind. Okay. And then, of course, this bankroll log, productivity, goal sheet. These are other things just keeping us on track. Because remember, we have to be those 5 to 6 people in a professional organization that are trying to make us the best version of us. We have to be that. So you know what we need? It's tough. It's challenging. We need these notes. We need these guides. We need to keep ourselves moving forward. Do you get what I mean? So, that is, let me see here. You guys can still see me, right? Oh wait, no, I don't think you guys can see me. Can you? Let me see. Hang on a second. You guys see me, or do you see the nothing?
We see you. We see you, Drew, the webcam.
Okay, you do see me. Okay. So that is what I have to say about my intro and getting you all set up. So I want to take some time now to talk to some of you, kind of just see what you have going on and what your thoughts are. So I heard Estonian. I think that was you that just spoke up, yeah?
Yep, that was me.
Okay, so do you have any questions? What are your thoughts here, Estonian? After having listened to this session, give me a little bit what your thoughts are.
Well, at first, thank you for the session. I have to re-listen the last 10 minutes or so. I had to leave for a moment, but yeah, so far everything like the whole community have is all together. We are just going through all the hand histories and stuff already in the Discord group, and this was just like a pre-session for what's coming up, and really like to looking forward to the next ones because yeah, it's been a great start.
Sweet. I'm glad to hear, Estonian, and it's a pleasure to have you here too, brother. Thank you for being a part of this project, supporting it, and being you, Estonian. I'm looking forward to getting to learn more about each and every one of you as we continue to progress in this program, in this project. Let's see here. If you have any questions, everyone, we're going to take 10 minutes or so here and get some questions. Pete Kearley here says, writing down outside poker concerns and thoughts before having a session. That is awesome. Good life advice, even. Yes, I agree. If nothing else, having a clean slate to focus and attack the game. Pete Kearley, it's literally massive, man. Gosh, there's so many things in here that I just like connect with on such a deep level. So I'm glad that you connected with that. So Sui, go ahead and feel free to type. Yerk, you can come on. If you have any questions, you want to talk about something, please tell me. Yerk, do me, actually, you know what, Yerk, do me a little favor. Tell us a little bit about you, where you come from, your poker experience, and then talk to me a little bit about how you feel after this session and any questions you have.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can hear me, right?
Yep, you're good.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. I was doing yard work. I'm multitasking, which I'm doing the wrong thing according to you earlier. that's that's the life. No, but I mean, I guess I'm not on the older side for this group specifically. I'm kind of new to the nutty community, but I'm 37, so married. My daughter's 8. Live in Ohio. I mean, I've been playing poker since 2002. So with mixed results.
Mm-hmm.
Used to play mostly on stars and do 180 mans and the 90 mans. And then I switched over to cash after Black Friday. And online, I haven't really played huge volume. I play live sometimes, but COVID kind of put a wrench in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I just wanted to kind of get back in because I guess for me, thinking about my goals and kind of like where I'm at in my life, I'm really hoping in the next like 3 years when I turn 40, I can kind of quit the job and
Mm-hmm.
give it a go, which is kind of the opposite of being the younger guy. Like I have to be a little bit more secure,
Right.
in terms of like finances and with the family. But
Makes
my
sense.
wife's on
100%.
10-year track. She should have that in the next year or two. So we should be good on that side. We got a rental, so I have
Mm-hmm.
other streams of income going on.
Nice.
So really right now is kind of the prep, learn, position myself for in the next couple of years to maybe take that jump, get back in to more like of a full-time grind compared to being just a weekend warrior.
Nice. I like
So
that.
I
Makes
appreciate you.
sense.
I appreciate the organization though of this first session and just getting your knowledge of the years you've been, hitting the tables and what you've learned. It's kind of good for me too, just because I think there's a lot of knowledge to glean from there without going through all the pain. So
Makes sense.
appreciate it. That's all I wanted to say, man.
Sweet. I appreciate that, Yerk. And buddy, I'm rooting for you because I feel where you're at, though I've never had kids. I feel where you're at. You know what I mean? There's a passion. I make an assumption here. Did you play sports when you were younger?
I did basketball and soccer. I think basketball is probably my best sport, but I'm a white guy who's 5'7", so that was never going to really go very far. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that was like my quote unquote best sport. But I mean, I played a lot of sports and skateboarded a lot when I was a kid. Snowboarded,
gotcha.
so
Okay,
high
cool.
school, college. Yeah.
So you have that competitive background, which is, I think, going to
Oh,
be
for sure.
a common denominator with a lot of people who are here. And poker gives us that. So I feel where you're at. I'm definitely rooting for you. And please, I'll tell you and a bunch of other people, everyone listening, that just reach out, ask questions, and embrace this as much as you can because, man, I connect with your situation. You got a lot going on. You try to mix it in, and then you ultimately, at the end of the day, poker gives us something that I realized again in 2010 that I really, really wanted in life, which was freedom. I did not want to have to work for the man and be a prisoner to that. I did it, and I worked the perfect job right before I decided to go full time with poker and try to pursue the dream. I was doing home healthcare recruiting, and every other week I was on call, and I had a cell phone that would ring at 2, 3 a.m., somebody calling out of work, and I have to open my book and try to find replacement. Most stressful job I've ever worked. And I felt like a prisoner, and it sucked. And it was just, I was living in anxiety every single day, and I wanted the freedom that poker gave me. And all of this stuff that I'm going to be teaching you is the way that I did my best to ensure that I would never have to be a prisoner of a job. In order to make money to survive, to like pay my bills. So I'm rooting for everybody out there who's trying to make that transition. It's not easy, but the freedom that you get from this or any other jobs, owning your own business and stuff like that, I would say it's worth it at the end of the day. Really,
Yeah,
really worth it.
real quick, Drew.
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump on with what you were saying. I mean, I really feel like exactly what you're throwing down there in terms of money is not the end goal of itself. Money is to buy freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom to spend time with who you need to spend time with, freedom to have flexibility. And like that's kind of me and my wife, that's always how we've positioned our finances. So poker is a small part of that, obviously, like being responsible and having a little bit of gamble in me, but you know, trying to just pursue that path in the next couple of years as the dog attacks my daughter. The puppy. All right, I'll let you guys go. I'll let somebody else chat.
Cheers, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep. Cheers.
So, yeah, that makes sense. Sui here says, having personal goals, things I want to do, help me stay focused on the task at hand. Yes, for sure. I love that, Sui. I used to be your typical recreational player, but watching Drew's Twitch and meeting all of you changed my mindset to have poker be a secondary income for entertainment funds. I started my competitive nature playing wheelchair basketball and pool. So that's great, Sui. I love that. And yeah, playing as a secondary income poker for entertainment funds, if that's what fuels your passion, fuels your fire, you got to do it. Again, you got to know how, like what motivates you. So I think that's great. Let's see here. So if anybody else, type 1 in the chat if you would like to pop on. Otherwise, I'm going to read what Shamkuli has to say here. Says, my personal goal is different from than many of you here. I'm 48, full-time job, family, so making poker a full-time living is not in the cards. Pardon the pun. But for me, I want to make a go of it to help as side income. As I played sports in my youth, I still play softball presently and work out, so fitness and competing is a huge deal for me. My man, me too. I love competing and hope that it's feasible to utilize it even in this way. Being a part of this community is also very fulfilling for me. So Shamkuli, 100%, 100%. I think that we might be in a coin flip situation potentially that I think a lot of nutted people here right now are looking to do this as a side income and feed into that competitive spirit. And I think that's fine. We're not all playing, again, like I said, to be able to face off versus Alex Foxen and Stevie Chidwick in the highest stakes possible in poker. We're not all here for that. Some of us just want to get a little bit better. Some of us want to get a lot a bit better. And some of us want it to be just a secondary income. Some of us want it to be a full-time income. And that's fine because there's still enjoyment, entertainment, and satisfaction there, regardless of how poker fits into your life. You're here because you want to gain more control over that. You want more freedom and confidence in why you're playing the game. So that is totally fine. It is 100% achievable, Shum Cooley, and I'm glad to have you here. You've been around the stream, so I recognize your name for a long, long time, and I'm definitely rooting for you. Fancy says I'm in your same exact spot talking to Shum Cooley. Side note, basketball is very relaxing. First time I was going to meet my wife's family when we were dating. Before I left to go there, I was shooting baskets in my backyard. Yeah. So that's great. I love to hear that. And is there anybody else out there that would like to ask any questions? If you have anything, type 1 in the chat if you would like to ask something via voice, and type 2 in the chat if you're typing something up, and I'll wait couple more minutes here. We'll be hitting the 1.5 hour mark. I know it's Sunday and a lot of people want to grind, but I'm loving this conversation. Loving the energy here. Let's see. So we have some people typing right now. But yes, as some stuff is coming in there. Today was our intro course to the Nutted Playbook, which is 10 plus years of my personal poker experiences and how I have gone from working an exhausting job that controlled my life to taking my leap of faith to try to make it in the poker world. I had to know, could this be me making it in poker? I had to take that leap of faith. And at the end of the day, if I failed and it didn't work out, I knew that this was not meant to be for me. But as I'm sitting here 12 years later, it's meant to be. It has been meant to be. At least for these 12 years, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to make it. And I'm presenting my personal playbook to the Nutted Society only. This is the first time I've ever gone back through these old slideshows that I've adjusted and catered to today and shared my experiences, because I would really love to see all of you watching accomplish your poker goals. Not all of your poker goals are going to be the same, but I'm going to give you everything that I've learned, share my experiences throughout this 9-week course, and continue to be here as a resource for you to achieve your poker goals and your poker dreams. And that's my only goal here with this. And I think it's kind of simple in a sense for me, because I just have to get up here and talk, share my real life experiences. I connect with all of it. I've got stories. Like I said, I've got documentations. So today was just the intro to that. And again, this course is going to be the glue that helps you keep everything else that you're going to be learning, from your master classes to your coaching to your solver studies, all of that stuff. I'm giving you the glue to make sure that you can find longevity, whatever that looks like for you in poker. This course is the glue, in my opinion. So I really do hope that you all connect with it and view it as such. Okay. Let's see. James Pruitt says, what's up, James? Want to say I really like this subject. Like you said earlier, there are plenty of vids on how to play, but not as much on life goals, etc. Yes, and I do think, with that said, that a lot of these concepts that I'm going to be talking about are transferable to other places and spaces in life. So I hope you see it for what it is. And again, one thing that's super, super important, I'm going to continue to say this, I will beat a dead horse over this. There are no dumb questions. That's something that I was told back when I was in high school, that the only dumb question is the one that you haven't asked. And this is a platform, this is a space where you can all feel comfortable, regardless of your level of skill or experience in poker. I want you to speak up. I want you to ask questions. And if I don't have the answer, because I don't have all the answers, I'm not here to be the know-it-all. I'm not here to say I figured it out. I am here to share my experiences, have open conversation, and I'm here to get you to think and to get you to find the best version of yourself. That's what I'm doing here. All right. So please, myself, there are many other educated players who have valuable experiences to share with you in our Nutted Society here. I encourage you to watch what everybody is saying in the chat, see who's participating, ask questions. And on the same token, I encourage you to be open-minded and listen to what people are saying. Even if you don't understand it at first, you might think it's a weird question, whatever. Be open-minded and embrace your community. It's super, super important. Chat Revoked, what's up, buddy? Good to see you out there. Says, I've been having a lot of deep runs, but feel I'm defeating myself at the bag or cash points. Ever feel this? Yes, for sure. 100%. I have felt that before a lot in the past, and I'll even still feel it now. You know, you get deep in a tournament, you get into the money, you fizzle out before the final tables. It's tough with poker because getting in a lot of games, there's a saying, volume beats variance. And it's tough because you could just be going through a stretch of, you know, that's kind of what's happening. And for some of you out there, you're not going to be able to get in a ton of games like all the time. And you might just go through a cycle of bad variance where, you know, you're actually playing pretty decent, but you're not getting the results. And again, that's where being involved and plugged into a community like this, asking questions about the decisions. We're going to be doing our weekly Wednesday hand histories where at first, just to make sure things go smooth and everybody enjoys the content, I'm just going to bring some of my hand histories and talk about my thoughts. We'll bring people on to ask questions and do just as we're doing now in this closing part of our seminar, and we'll grow from there. But then I will start asking for you to submit your hand histories, and we'll go through, we'll pick apart, and I will ask you what you were thinking, and I will pick apart your thought process and try to get you to think about some different ways to be successful and approach some spots. So Chat Revoked, the best thing I can say to you right now is don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Because we're going to get to that. We're going to help you get better. We're going to give you that confidence that you need. It does take time. A lot of what we're going to be talking about will take time for you to get better, understand, and grow that confidence, but be patient. Okay. It will come. Fancy says, that's what she said. This is a great team, not only the presenters. Let me see here. Where's my mouse? This is a great team, not only of presenters, but members. There's strength in numbers of the community as we can all lean on each other to improve. Let's get it 100%. I love that. I enjoy sharing resources. Feel free asking me anything, says Mr. E. And I love seeing people wanting to get out there and share. Easy Rider says, great first session, guys. Always think everyone doesn't learn as quick as others, and that is no problem. But keep asking questions and keep learning 100%. I totally agree with that as well. And so everybody, in closing out, I just want to say one more thing. We have a very unique opportunity here with our Poker NFT Club, the Nutted Society. And if you found value in this session and you have friends who are in poker, friends who are struggling to put it together, wanting to get better at poker, wanting to feed into that competitive spirit, I highly encourage you to talk to your friends who are in your circles. And if you think that this course could be something that would be good for them, help them understand how to get involved in NFTs. Explain to them what a MetaMask is. Show them how to join our club and get into the Nutted Society. We are very, very close to having our first reveal of the first 250. It's only a handful away. And the majority of you have friends and people who are in poker, and you know that they could really benefit from this. And sometimes it just takes the word of a friend to say, hey, trust me, get involved in this. Get into these seminars, get into our weekly hand history sessions. The $400 or $500 that you would spend is a year plus membership into something that a lot of other people are not doing with the poker NFT space. And it's very, very new. And we are continuing to evolve our understanding of how we can provide the best experience, the best club for all of you. And it's only going to continue to get better. So a word from a friend, getting them into this club, if you care about them and you see value here, your word speaks volumes. And this coming Tuesday in our Nutted Society town hall meeting, JD is going to be introducing a new member of our Nutted Society staff, which, as far as value goes and being a part of this project, this is an exponential. Paul, who's going to be coming in and getting introduced and talking to more, is the years of experience that this man is bringing into our project, and the value that he's bringing to the back end and everything that we have going on. This is just like what I said, me going into my poker journey here, 2010, giving it my all, everything, knowing that I placed the foundation correctly and doing everything I could, and knowing that I might have failed, but I had to know and I had to give it my all, but I would have had peace at the end of the day. I will say that having Paul be part of this team and this project, if you are talking to your friends, trying to get them into NFTs, you want them to be into the Nutted Society Club, I promise you that this introduction and this meeting of Paul is going to bring us to the point that if we do not achieve our highest goals and we fail, we are going to be failing forward, and we are going to put the best foot forward, and we have increased our chances of a high level of success for all of us exponentially by bringing Paul onto our team. So I'm very, very happy, very excited about that. And yeah. If you have any questions, my DMs are open. Whispers, Twitter, Discord, whatever. Feel free to reach out to me. Always feel free to reach out to JD. And like I said, on Tuesday, you'll get an introduction to Paul. He's an incredible resource. We're all very lucky to have him around. And lastly, what you put into this is what you are going to get out of this. So I encourage you, give it your all. Whether you're trying to make poker part-time, full-time, you will get out of this what you put into this. And this Nutted Society project, if you've invested in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 NFTs, it doesn't matter. All right. You are part of this project. You are a shareholder. You have a voice. And if you want this to succeed, I encourage you as well to tell your friends, get them involved, let them know what's going on here, and help us grow people's awareness of what we are offering here. If you see that value, it is your responsibility as a shareholder, you know what I mean, to have a voice. We want you to have a voice. All right. So that is everything for me. Good luck on your Sunday grinds today, everyone. I'm going to be hopping on stream a little bit later to share my Sunday grind, and I'm jazzed up. Make sure you share your stories later, everything that you have, your Sunday grinds. You know, we're looking forward to hearing it. And that's all I got, everyone. So I'm going to bounce from the screen share. Good luck in your grinds, everyone. Much love. I appreciate the hype, and we'll catch up with you later. See you, everyone.